The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
What is up, everybody? Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Let me do what I always do and put Greenwood Chevrolet on the top right corner here so you know exactly where to go to find your new or used vehicle that maybe you're in the market for. They have a ton of them down there at the shop. Check out their Facebook page. They're always updating that on new models they get in. Chevy Colorado, I saw last week, was on there. Obviously, the new Silverado's in there. Bunch of great stuff at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to, take that next step. You can just do it now. Let Greenwood do it for you. We go the extra mile for you here on this show every single day and on YSN. We thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their constant support of not just this show, but everything that we do on YSN. With that being said, let's get into what we're going to do today. We're going to recap some of the action over the weekend. There really wasn't much. I mean, Friday we had a couple of games dodged rain. Saturday, Edison was able to get some games in because of their turf. Other than that, we were kind of rained and washed out. I remember I went to Canfield, right, for softball against Hoover, and got on the broadcast, did my intro, it started sprinkling, I had to go off. Watched the first inning go by. Both pitchers were electric. It was nothing after one inning. Okay, one inning goes by. It's no rain. I give it like 10 minutes of no rain before I even take the covers off and try to go back on. So I go back on for the top of the second. Get to the top of the second inning. No harm, no foul. Okay, we're going to dodge the rain. Not supposed to come till 7. Think we're good. Feel it again in the bottom of the second inning. And then, you cover, you go, hey, we have to go. We cover the camera, we cover the computer. And then, like, maybe 5 minutes later, as I'm watching the bottom of the second inning transpire, I think one at bat in, downpour, just. So obviously that means, okay, we're just going to take the equipment and go. We stayed at Canfield a little bit to wait out to see if maybe it was going to be a quick pour and they would be able to play again. They tried to. I think Coach Kernan wanted to. But I think Hoover made the executive decision to say, like, hey, if we start again and then we have to stop again and then we're in a really lengthy delay, like we have over an hour drive back home up to Canton. We don't want to be here until 6:30, 7 o'clock. So they just kind of said, hey, you know what? We'll pass on trying to just, wishy-wash this rain. I know Coach Kernan was trying to, politic for it a little bit and try to get this game in. The umpires, I think, were ready to go because there was a minute where both teams were cheering and they brought some teams on the field and we thought, okay, we're going. Obviously the broadcast was done. We tore down once it started to downpour. There's some point when the blanket and a tarp can't cover the stuff anymore, right? So once it downpoured, that was the end of the broadcast. But hey, we can still get a really good softball game in. I love to sit and watch. And then the umpires took a walk down the field, kicked around the dirt a little bit, squished into the outfield a little bit, and then they made the decision like, hey, we're not going to play. And it was kind of, it's that sad moment that all the fans kind of realize, I guess we're not playing. The roller coaster that comes with a rain delay, because everyone was excited. They wanted to see this softball game. Everyone wanted to see how Hoover stacked up against Canfield. It was kind of Hoover's trip to the AAC. They beat Boardman the night before. They were regional champions last year. Canfield wanted to see how they stacked up against them. Obviously, Canfield Division 2, Hoover Division 1, so it would have been a really good test for Canfield. Melena Toth had 5 strikeouts through 2, so she was on fire. It was a sad they couldn't finish it because I think it would have been a really, really good softball game eventually. But they delayed and they suspended in the second. Another really good game that was unfortunately called because of rain. Middle in was Fitch and Hoban. I know it was watching it because I got the chance to as I was watching in the rain Canfield. I was delayed. Tie was on. Pulled up the Fitch game, and the first thing I see is Abby Toth at bat, and I think she takes a pitch, fouls the pitch off, and then cranks one. And as she's rounding the bases, I could have swore I heard and I was like, did Abby Toth just bring the thunder quite literally? And then from eyewitness accounts, as soon as she stepped on the home plate, you saw lightning come up in the sky. It was like, man, this girl has power. She's brought Thor's hammer to the field because she's bringing the lightning, she's bringing the thunder. It was perfect timing, I guess. But that game, obviously, because of the lightning, had to be postponed and suspended. I always say the only thing that will stop Fitch from playing is a tornado or a lightning storm, because rain doesn't matter with that field at all. They can play in the rain. They'll be fine. But severe weather, then they're like, okay, let's pack it in. I think I joke with some coaches around the area, Fitch is playing in a tornado. I don't care. The tornado on the horizon, we can still get this in again. Let's go. Because they're that competitive. They want to get that game in. They want to see how they stack up with Hope. And I'm sure Coach Ward, if he was on today, if I had a chance to talk with him, he would have been saying we try to get it back in. We tried to play it. We want to play this team. And the good thing about this Hoban team and the fact that Fitch plays in such a small conference is there is a little bit of wiggle room to try to get that game rescheduled. Canfield, maybe not as much with Hoover because Hoover plays in the Federal League and they have conference responsibilities, but Hoban's independent. They don't have conference responsibilities, so they have a little bit more wiggle room on their schedule. So there could be a little bit more hope of seeing Hoban and Fitch resume that game at some point. I know they both want to. They both want to see themselves against the other team. Other than that home run, Faith Porter was pitching really well through an inning and I think that she had 1 out when that home run happened, if I'm not mistaken. So an inning and a third, she had them shut out. And obviously, Sydney Watts was pitching pretty well through the first round of the lineup. But I'm interested to see if that game keeps going. Some games have been canceled tonight. Obviously, later on the show, we'll go over our preview after the weather has time to kick in. We have time to get even more cancellations funneled into us. Usually, if the games are canceled because of field conditions or because of rain during the day, those cancellations usually start to come in by 2:00 to give the umpires time to look at arbiter and say, usually the late cancellations come when the rain comes late. But if it's because of field conditions, which we've had rain this morning, and I believe here in Boardman, we just got a little bit of wave of rain here. I don't hear it anymore, but a small wave of rain just came through Boardman. So we'll give those teams a little bit of time to make that decision, and then we'll check the spreadsheet out at 1:45 when we start to close the show and see what games are on, what games are canceled, and things like that. Also on the show today, we're going to have an interview played for you guys. We try to do that every day, and we have, I think, only missed one day during the spring sports season so far of not having someone either live on the show or having a interview ready to go to be played on the show. And today we have McKaylee Thornhill from Jackson Milton Softball. She was able to talk with us on Friday after Running Point. So got a chance to talk with her. Excited to see you guys be able to share her interview. We have a bunch in the can. We had a good weekend as far as getting interviews. So we should have this week completely squared up. So I'm going to promote it right now since we have it. We will have Logan Boyd from Cardinal Mooney Baseball this week. I just got done with an interview with Brett Channel from Champion Baseball. We'll have him this week. We'll have Melena Toth also this week, as well as McKaylee Thornhill today. So we have all those interviews packed and ready to go. So it's going to be a fun week of Running Point. What that means is, since we're ahead, the interviews that I'm able to get this week, we should be good to go. We should be like absolutely full steam ahead into the last couple weeks of baseball and softball season, which always excites me. You're not stressing about, is this show prepared? We're a week ahead. We're good to go. We have this week taken care of. Every interview we get this week is going to be already packed for next week. So the show's taken care of. The content is great. We just put our last Middle Ridge softball player profile that Jake Silak did a great job with down at the post office pub. He did them all at once, but we kind of staggered them a little bit so they could, each have their own limelight a little bit on the website. So I think the last one just went up with Manny Wylonen, who is just a phenomenal softball player down there in Middle Ridge, senior leader, a young roster, but she's experienced. I mean, she's been in 2 straight YSN All-Star games. She's been Middle Ridge's representative in both the ones that we've had, and it was a great conversation with her from Jake. He did a great job down there at the post office pub, and hopefully he's able to get some more athletes on throughout the spring down there, and we can continue to highlight Middle Ridge and the post office pub. We thank them for their support of Middle Ridge athletics and giving us a spot to be able to do Middle Ridge interviews for the basketball season and now for the softball and baseball season as well. And obviously we want to thank Jake Silak for giving that time and putting the work in, going the extra mile to do interviews on his own time, to be able to bring in, I think the total was 5 softball players. That's a big time commitment to say, hey, I'm going to interview 5 players in one night. We got them all up. We have them all written. We have them all, obviously Mahoning Valley Sports did one of their games this year. So got all the great pictures up. So thank you to Jake Silak for putting that time in. Thank you for Post Office Pub for obviously giving us the avenue to do it and the place to do it, the great place to do it. If you haven't checked out the Post Office Pub, definitely do so. Great food down there for the Middle Ridge community. And then, want to thank those players for taking the time to come join Jake and do those interviews. It was great. So we hope that we're able to get more Middle Ridge interviews from the Post Office Pub throughout the season, but make sure to check those out on ysnlive.com/live. They can find it on the website. You can find the interviews on the YouTube channel as well. If you're over there on the YouTube channel, if you're watching us on YouTube or watching the player profile or Coach's Corner or whatever it may be, please, if you feel so kind and obligated to, you don't feel obligated to, but if you feel so kind to, hit that subscribe button while you're there. And then if you do that, hit that notification bell so you never miss a minute of the video content that we put up on our YouTube channel. We're updating that thing like every day, literally every day. Whether it be Coaches' Corners, players' profiles, game highlights, post-game interviews, things are going up on that channel every day. You don't want to miss a minute of it. YouTube algorithm can be kind of hit or miss. So if you don't hit that bell, you might miss stuff, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to miss any of the videos that we put up on our YouTube page. So if you're subscribed, make sure you hit that bell, give us a like and a comment so we can get us even more exposure. And YouTube likes the videos that are liked. They put them out there. So give us a like, give us a comment on those videos. We would really appreciate that kind of support. So with all that being said, I am going to say the scores from the weekend that we did get real quick. I'm going to go over the scores that we did get in because, like I said, we didn't get a lot, but we did get some. So let's go over those scores real quick. We'll head over to our social media page and our graphics Instagram to get to these. And here we go. So on the softball side of things on Friday, nope, I'm sorry. Here's Friday. Here we go. Friday, let's see. Lowville beat Camel 11-3. We saw Springfield softball take care of East Palestine 4-2. That was the final score there. Jefferson beat Perry 10-0. Final score. Perry has been really good in their conference for years, but this year only 4 wins on the season. They're struggling, so Jefferson makes them continue to struggle. LeBray gets a win over Jackson Milton 6-4, and West Branch beat Salem in a remake game that was scheduled for earlier in the week, but it's obviously made up. 8-3 final score there. Hubbard baseball beat Ursuline 2-0. West Geauga beat Lakeside 7-4 on the baseball diamond. South Range got their game in 15-6. They were able to beat Mooney, an impressive win for the Raiders there. East Palestine baseball had went 3-0 last week. They finished off the week with a win over Beaver Local on Friday, 6-4, the final score there. And then Wellsville baseball got a win over Youngstown East, 10-0 on Friday as well. Some Saturday scores that came in. We have Edgewood beating Grand Valley 7-0. These are still Friday. Some late scores that came in. LeBray beat Campbell on Friday 15-2. Excuse me. Saturday scores that came in. Edison was able to beat Ursuline in a narrow one on the softball field. 9-8 final score. Wildcats get the win. And then Weir continues their Irish struggles on the weekend as they beat Ursuline at Edison 7-4. The final score for that one. Edison went on to beat Weir later on in the day as well. While you're over there on our Instagram, check out our power rankings that got uploaded yesterday for softball and baseball. We have a new computer algorithm that has really made it a lot more fair and kind of tossed away opinions. It's just complete insert data into a formula and see where the points lie. That's pretty much what the baseball and softball power rankings are right now. So I know there's still a lot of arguments. We've seen the comments. There are people that are upset about them, but at least now we can say, hey, we didn't choose it. We didn't pick it. It's not biased. It's simply the numbers, right? It's simply the numbers in the power rankings. It's all computer based. We made a formula. We put in the formula, and that's what came out. It's that simple. You get points for your wins, you get points for your opponent's wins, and you get points for what division you play. Those are kind of the three big factors, and then a little bit of boost for run rule victories and a little bit of, a little bit of chiseling if you get run ruled. But other than that, those are your points, and that's how it kind of came out. So those power rankings, might not be happy with them, but as the old adage goes, numbers don't lie. Computers don't lie. So that's how they turned out. We're going to be using that algorithm and that formula for the rest of the season. So if you don't like it, get used to it, right? That's where it's here to stay. We're taking opinion out of it, just like we did for basketball, and we're sticking with the numbers that we feel are a little bit more factual and a little bit more reliable. So that's how it goes. Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley winners have been announced for week 2. Congratulations to Jackson Milton's Billy Sloan, who was on the show last week, for winning Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley in baseball. And also congratulations to Springfield's Hallie McCullough for winning the softball side of Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley week 2. New nominees will be announced a little bit later this week, usually on Wednesday. So make sure you get ready. If there are any last-minute nominees that you want to get in, people that you think had really good weeks or a really good game last week, that you think deserve some credit and deserve some limelight on Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley, you can message YSN on any of our social media accounts, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Heck, send us a message on TikTok. I don't care. Just get us a message and let us know the player, the school, and their stat line that you want them kind of thrown into the ring with. And we will get those up and we will put them in the nomination hat and see how they stack up against the other people that are nominated for the week, and then release our final 6 on usually Wednesdays is when we're able to get those up. So make sure you have a couple of days, maybe a day left, where you can get players in for what they did last week. Once again, message us on any of our social media accounts, or if you don't like that, if you don't have social media, I don't know. Well, I guess you could be watching on our website. I was going to say, I don't know how you're watching this if you don't have social media, but if you're watching, you're thinking, I don't want to really message you guys on social media, I guess you could always email us at info@ysnlive.com. That's another avenue. There are so many ways to get a hold of us, right? But the most surefire way is to just stick with Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and nominate people that way. But can't wait for week 3 of Baird Brothers, the Big Dog of the Valley. Like always, it's a great way for the communities to get out there and show their support for their athletes. These are all vote-based. Like, this is not us saying this is why we think won the player of the week. This is all 6 nominations. It's fan nominated. Everyone's able to nominate whoever they want. And then it's all fan voted. So it's all about how much your community backs you up, how much your team gets you out there, gets you marketed. It's all about fan votes. So that's what I love about Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. You really get to see what communities back their players and get out there and vote their thumbs off. We had a lot of big numbers this week. I hope we can do it next week. But congratulations again to Jackson Milton's Billy Sloan and Springfield's Hallie McCalla for winning this week's Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley in baseball and softball, respectively. Speaking of Jackson Milton, after this break, we're going to get to our interview section of the show. We have McKaylee Thornhill, pitcher from Jackson Milton and a really good leader. And a great conversation, a great interview with McKaylee Thornhill that we're going to play after this break. So look forward to that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Running Point. As always, it is brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We'll be back in a bit.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
As everything that Ice Energy commercial sounds like to someone's hitting their cheeks together like I don't know, that's just crazy. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, someone's just sitting there in the studio like no, that's what you get when you're watching my show. So welcome to Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You heard from them, you heard from Tracy. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same on this show every single day in at YSN. We thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their promotion and their support of this show since day one. We couldn't do what we do on Running Point without Greenwood Chevrolet. So thank you again for them, from me and everyone at YSN for all that they do for us. And we hope that this partnership continues on Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown for this show. Talking about what we're going to do on this show, we promised before the break that we're going to get to our interview section. It's going to be from Jackson Milton. It is their pitcher in the circle, their ace in the circle, McKaylee Thornhill. Can't wait for you to hear from her. Here's the interview with McKaylee Thornhill from Jackson Milton. Anthony Harwig here with a Jackson Milton player profile. I'm joined by McKaylee Thornhill. McKaylee, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me here.
The one they call Mac Dog. I want to ask where that nickname started. Has it been something that has been carried with you all life, or is it something that started with Jackson Milton softball?
It was just Jackson Milton softball freshman year. That's just what they started calling me. I don't know where it came from, but
does it give you the green light, or is it something that you don't like?
I like it.
You like it? It's good. That's good because it's sticking with you whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Back to the softball. Let's get on the softball side of things. This year, you're asked to be a big leader to this team. I think that's something that you knew coming in that you were going to be asked of with the seniors that left last year. What has that been like? You know, knowing that you were going to be a leader, and now we're about halfway through the season. You've been able to be a leader this whole year. What has that been like for you mentally?
It's been different. I've always been the player that, like, I'll help others, but I was the one that always asked for help. And now, like, our younger freshmen are asking me for help, and it's a big step up for me, but I like it because I like helping them grow.
What did you do to prepare yourself for that? And like I said, you kind of knew this season that you were going to have to be that leadership person, with the amount of innings you get, and obviously, like I said, the seniors that left last year. So, what did you do to prepare, knowing that coming into this season, like you were going to have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders?
I just thought to almost act like how the seniors acted last year in my freshman year, just to really be there for all my teammates and just help them to have fun when playing softball.
You talk about how the seniors kind of carried themselves, the seniors of last year. How much did they teach you how to lead? I mean, they were great athletes in multiple sports. How much did those seniors teach you how to lead going into this year?
They taught me a lot of just sports skills, life skills. Like, I am so lucky to have the seniors that I've had in the past 2 years.
Another mentality question, because you're the ace of this team now. Like, everything in the circle is all on your shoulders. You're the number one. Big game, we're going to you. Obviously, you have some help with Britta Macbeth, but you're the big game starter. You're the one that Coach Ciccolelli is going to look at every time you guys go up against a big opponent. What does that mean to you, and how have you been able to mentally handle that obstacle?
I don't know. I like being the center and controlling the game, but I just think I'll try my best. And I know Brenna will have my back if I'm having an off day or just nothing's working. But I just try to hit my spots when pitching and just try to give it my all.
Has the fact that you are kind of the ace of this team put any pressure on you, or have you kind of stayed away from that aspect of the game?
It's put a lot of pressure, but sometimes the pressure is good to help me learn and grow as a pitcher, to really work on, if I hang this ball, it's going. If I don't, it won't be as much of a bomb for the hitter, but it helps me to grow as a pitcher and a person.
Learn and grow, two things that players always have to do. They always have to find ways to get themselves better. What things do you think you've learned and grown in from last year to this year? Because last year you were still on this stage quite a bit. I mean, this is not your first rodeo on the varsity softball field. So what did you learn from last year? How have you grown from last year to this year?
I've just grown to be, I've always had a self-confidence problem, but this year I just have had more positive thoughts. Like last year it'd be like, oh no, it's 3-2, I'm going to walk her. Now I'm like, oh, it's 3-2. Let's spice it up and really give them a challenge.
Confidence can really be an issue in softball. I mean, this sport is built to make you fail. So if you don't have the confidence, then it can really take you for a ride. How have you built that confidence? What kind of things have you done to make it up and to build up the confidence that you have in yourself?
Just practice. I mean, because I do travel softball, so I pitch all summer, and just the repetition of, oh, it's okay if I walk this batter, but I'll just get one batter at a time and just try to improve one batter at a time.
Perfect segue, because I was going to ask about travel softball next. You get to pitch in the summer, and the teams that you pitch against are hand-picked lineups that can hurt you 1 through 9. What did that do? What does summer ball do for you as a player to go up against that kind of competition and have that kind of competition on your side as well, to grow you as a softball player?
It helps me to think not only one batter at a time, but one pitch at a time. So with one pitch, I need to stay open. I need good mechanics, and just to really focus one pitch at a time to throw the best that I can.
Every pitcher has good coaches and people that kind of help them along their journey, develop their pitches. Who is the person that helps you develop the pitches the most, do you think?
I have a pitching coach, Ed Beavers, and he has helped me tremendously with pitching. And he has helped me build my confidence, my stamina. He has helped me grow so much as a pitcher.
Now you have a handful of pitches that you can go to and throw. Which one do you think was the hardest to learn and develop and try to build and get to the point where you can use it in the game?
Probably rise ball, because it's the opposite of the mechanics that I was taught. So like normal, you go forward. Rise ball, you need to stay back and scoop up instead of out. So that was always hard for me, and I'm still working on it, but it's improved a lot.
Rise balls can be scary, man. If you leave them flat, they're
I know.
gone. But you have to have that mentality, that confidence in the rise ball. Adding that pitch to your arsenal, does that help your confidence? Like, hey, I have to have confidence in this pitch, or it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it does. And it helps to have multiple pitches too, because some days my curveball can be beautiful, but then screwball, it's just not it that day. And it just helps to have a wide variety of pitches that I am confident in. Even if they're not working that one day, I'll still be like, okay, that's fine. We'll move on.
What's your favorite pitch to throw?
It's probably drop, because when it works, it just falls right off the table and it completely drops as it should.
As it should. You heard it here first. Rise ball, curveball, screwball, drop ball. That means she's working every part of the zone, which means you have a lot of pitches to throw. We've talked about that before, but it also means that it makes your job easy for the people that are calling pitches. How much of a trust do you have to build in the people that call pitches for you, whether it be travel ball, high school ball? I mean, obviously they're telling you, hey, you got to throw this pitch in this situation. How have you built that trust in those kind of coaches?
It was hard. Over travel ball, we got a new coach and we had a little bit of a slump calling pitches, but I built trust with her and we worked it out. And now, like, I trust her and I trust Coach C a lot to throw my pitches. And it wasn't very hard to build the trust once, like, I see their thought process of what pitches they want me to throw.
Everyone has kind of a different philosophy when calling pitches and how to attack hitters. What do you think yours is? If someone came to you and said, hey, you're going to call pitches this game, how would you go about the strategy of this game? What do you think your philosophy is and how to attack hitters?
So do you mean like the type of pitches or like?
Yeah, like what are you looking for? What do you think is the one that you can go to when you're in attack mode? And are you more of an aggressive pitcher, or do you kind of want someone to swing and miss it and stuff? How would you describe yourself? How would you call a game if you were calling one for yourself? Like if Coach C came to you tonight, if you and said, hey, you're calling your own pitches, what would be your mindset? Like, well, how would you attack these hitters?
Depending on how my pitches are that day. I would do a movement pitch. I start off aggressive, like a curveball, screwball, depending on left-handed, right-handed, normally try to go outside and then just try to pipe it down, second pitch. Because I know I'm not the fastest, but I just go inside, outside. And then, again, depending on the count, I throw a waist pitch, like a rise ball, because sometimes that'll rise a lot, or a backdoor curve, or just kind of always keep it different and moving.
Would you be confident if someone did say, hey, you're calling your own pitches today? Like, do you think you could do it?
I think I could, because I feel like I have the best view of where the batter stands because it's right in front of me. And sometimes the coaches can't tell if they're crowding the plate or way too far back. So I feel like I could. I might not be too confident, but I could.
That would also have to have a lot of trust in your catcher as well, because that would be your battery mate that's calling with you, and Emily Foltz, who is a good catcher in her own right. So talk about the relationship between those two and how you've built a relationship with her and how much you trust her behind the plate.
Yeah. Emily, a few games she has called my pitches, and they were good games. So I trust her along with calling my pitches, catching my drop ball when it falls off the table or doesn't drop, or I like her having behind the plate because I know she'll try her everything to stop no matter how wild my crazy pitches are.
One of the things the catchers have to do, they have to be able to build that relationship with their pitcher so they know exactly when something's going wrong. Hey, I can see that. I know your body language. I know that thing. I know your pitches. How much work do you think goes in, behind the scenes to building these relationships with the catchers you have and trying to make them kind of know more about you than maybe you know yourself?
Yeah, there's a lot. And I've played multiple sports with Emily, our catcher, and I always am talking to her just with everything. So I have a really good friendship with her along with the catcher-pitcher relationship.
So you have a lot of pitches. If there's one that's not in your arsenal that you're working on or you want to start to work on or you would love to be able to have, what pitch do you see in yourself that like, man, I wish I could throw that, or I want to be able to throw that?
Well, I have this change up drop curve that I just got introduced to throwing, and I'm waiting until I've pitched more games to really throw it because it's really new. But I just need to build my confidence with other pitches too first. So
You got some time. Got
yeah.
some time to work on that pitch. And I'm telling you, a drop curve to right-handed hitters on that back foot. It's not fair. It's not fair. When you think about things that you like to do outside of softball and things that kind of take your mind off the sport, you have to because you work so hard at it, but you can't gas yourself out. What kind of things do you like outside of the sport?
I like just hanging out with friends and family because my family goes camping. And so we have a weekend without softball, which is very rare, but we go camping in PA and all that. And I love doing that.
All right. So a camping family, let's say you took one of your friends camping that had never camped before in their life, and you had to give them like a survival guide to their first time camping. What would that look like? What kind of things do people have to know if it's their first time with camping with the Thornhills?
Yeah, it's interesting because we have a place in Tynesta and we have to use the outhouse there. And I know I've brought in a few friends where they're like, I am not going in that. And I was like, I don't know.
Either that or the nature's your outhouse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
your two options.
But it's fun. I just say we sit around the campfire playing the crick that's by our camper and hang out.
If they ask you, like, I'm going to Bass Pro Shop, like I can only buy 3 things. What 3 things are essential to a camping trip with your family? What 3 things are you telling them? Like, you have to buy these.
Definitely like the marshmallow, like the roasting sticks, because we either lose them or break them. Like, there's no keeping those. And we glamp, I guess, because we have the camper. So most of the stuff's already in there, but I'm trying to think. I'm not really sure what else.
Bear repellent.
Yeah.
It's always the go-to, you know?
Bear, actually, mosquito repellent. That's a lot of that.
All right. So what softball teammate would you want to take on a camping trip that you haven't been able to yet? Like, who do you think would be the best on a camping trip in those survival situations?
From high school?
Yeah.
Or I feel like Grace Johns would be fun to take. I feel like she'd just have fun. She'd be the one where we can go like mudding in by our camper.
If this team was dropped on a desert island, who do you think would be the best at like the survival instincts and the like we're gonna survive kind of strategy that you need to survive if you're dropped on a desert island?
I think Paige Grope 100%. Like, she would be like, it's okay, guys. There'll be water in a little bit, and then there'd be water nowhere. But she just have the positive attitude in a stranded desert.
Opposite end of the spectrum, who would be the first to crack? Like, this isn't going well, can't handle it, mental breakdown.
I think it'd be both the twins, Brenna and Ivy Macbeth, would be like, we're gonna die.
We're gonna die.
We are done.
Talk about before we let you go, the pregame playlist. I know it's always banging for Jackson Milton. Who's in charge of it, and what makes it so good?
Emily Foltz is in charge of it.
Of course.
And she finds music that we all like or enjoy for like warm up. And we just sit there and she'll be like, any song suggestions? And we're like, I don't know, Em, you pick. And then she'll just pick a good one. And we're like, all right.
What genre do you lean towards? Like, is there one that you like more than others?
I like everything. I listen to all kinds of music. It's crazy. Like, have a friend who listens to bluegrass, so I listen to a lot of bluegrass, and my mom's a metalhead, so then I listen to like Metallica, Pandora, or yeah, and like all them. So I'm just the wide spectrum.
Yeah, mom's a metalhead.
She was at least. She's not
See,
as
if
much.
I had to pick your dad or your mom, like one of the two's a metalhead, which one is it? I would go with your dad. Like that's the
No,
one I would pick, but it's the opposite. All right,
my
that's
dad's the
awesome.
90s rap.
90s rap for your dad.
Yes.
I like it. I like it. Oh man, I can't wait to see them next to give them a hard time about that. Walk
Yeah.
up song. Would yours? What would it be?
My walk-up song, I had two for travel and high school. I had "You Should See Me in a Crown" by Billie Eilish, and then I had "Cut the Cord" by Shinedown.
All right, so that's a little bit of metal, a little bit
Yeah, a
of
little bit
pop.
of metal, a little bit
You
of
know,
yeah.
what made those to say like what why did those songs stick out? What do they say about you that you want people to know when you walk up to the plate?
I don't know. Honestly, they both had good like beat drops, and they were just very like, see me. I'm kind of intimidating, I guess, as much
If
as I can be.
if you had to
But
have a walk out song to the circle, would it be the same, or is there a different song that you would pick for a walk out song to the circle?
I feel like it would kind of be the same. And since I have such a wide variety of like music genres, I'd have to really like
Right.
find one to pick. So, yeah.
All right, McKaylee. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, though, I do want to give you the time to shout out your support system and all the people that are in your corner and the ones that you really couldn't do all the things that you do without.
Yes, I really thank my whole team and all my high school team and high school coaches because they've really helped me with a lot. And my travel team and my dad, because my dad has coached me through every sport since I have been like 3. And so he's always been there for me, going to my pitching lessons, hitting, softball practices, everything. And I really want to thank Ed Beavers and Dave Flickinger because they have been very patient with me. Ed will definitely have a lot to say, but I'm really grateful for them and just all my friends and family who have always supported me and come to my games and just helped me through everything.
All right, Mac Dog, thanks again for joining us today. We'll see you again soon. Good luck the rest of the way. We can't wait to
Thank
talk to you
you.
real soon.
Thank you. See ya.
McKaylee Thornhill from Jackson Milton. What a great interview. Thank you so much to her for giving her giving us her time. And doing that interview is a good one. It's a really good one. A lot of fun stuff in that one. I thought it was one of the best ones we've done so far this year. I enjoyed it. One of the things I enjoyed the most though was because I'm an X's and O's nerd. DJ will tell you like his interviews are a little bit different than mine because I like to focus on X's and O's, and he likes to focus more on the stuff outside the field. But like talking with her about like these pitches that she throws and when she likes to throw them and how she developed these pitches and the fact that she's developing a drop curve, I'm just like, man, a drop curve. And I misspoke. It would be to the back foot of left-handed hitters and to the low outside corner to the righties. But, a slapper trying to hit a drop curve, you just can't do it. I mean, you go back and watch the best drop curve in the game that I've ever seen is Kalani Ricketts, who pitched for Oklahoma and then pitched for the USSSA Pride, pitched for Team USA. I had a chance to see her live in the professional league a couple of times. And her drop curve, especially if you're a left-handed hitter, because going to the back foot of your lefties who are normally slappers, it's almost impossible to hit. I remember watching her against Tennessee in the championship series, especially game 1 when she pitched for 13 innings and it was a thriller. Ended with a Lauren Chamberlain home run that gave Oklahoma that win. That she really just took out the lefties of Tennessee's lineup, and it was lefty heavy. A lot of their big hitters, Raven Chavon, Lauren Gibson, Lexi Overstreet, they were all left-handed hitters. They were a lefty heavy lineup, and Ricketts just kind of held them in check. The really big hit she gave up was to a righty in Madison Shipman, who's right there. Got a home run off of her to give Tennessee a 3-0 lead that they eventually gave up. But The lefties in that lineup that were so good, All-American hitters, drop curve kind of silenced them to the back foot. If you can execute that drop curve and put it right where it needs to go, which is that bottom corner, back foot to lefties and the bottom outside corner to righties, it's really, really hard to hit. Good luck hitting that pitch. So if Thornhill gets a grasp of that, it's going to be tough, especially those the back door to it, so it kind of looks like it's going to be outside, then it kind of catches the zone and it drops while it's doing it. It's rough. Bree Kohler had one a little bit that she finagled with her senior year at South Range, and when she threw it and she threw it well, it was devastating. So if Thornhill can get that pitch to go with her already drop ball, which she can throw it anywhere in the zone, and then the rise ball, of course, with the curve and the screw, she can go any part of the zone, right? I would say she probably has more command of her curveball than her screwball, so she really probably works the outside to righties a little bit more than the inside, but she can still throw the screwball really, really well. I love pitchers that can work every part of the zone. That makes calling pitches. We talked about that a lot too. Can make calling pitches a lot easier. Like, hey, this hitter struggles with this. McKaylee has a pitch that can hit that spot. Let's go with it. Let's attack them with it. See what they can do. So it's got to make Coach Ciccalelli's job a lot easier calling pitches for her when Thornhill's in the circle. Another thing I really enjoyed talking to her about was the help she gets in the circle. It's not all on her shoulders. She has Brenna Macbeth to come in, and she's been pitching really well this year too. So Jackson Milton, last year Thornhill was kind of thrown into an ace mentality because of an injury. That kind of, they was supposed to be a two-headed monster, and all of a sudden it was saying, hey, McKaylee, hey, MacDog, you got to throw most of our innings, and she handled that really well, but now she's back to a point when it's not all on her shoulders. She does have help in the circle. They do have pitching depth that they can go to, so that makes Jackson Milton very formidable, and they're going to be very dangerous in a Division IV tournament that features some really quality teams that like Matthews and Brookfield and McDonald, just to name a few, that are going to be vying for a district championship this year. So a great conversation with McKaylee Thornhill. We'll try to get some more Jackson Milton softball and baseball players on as the season goes on. We've already talked to Billy Sloan. Once again, congratulations to him for winning Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley this week, and then Hallie McCullough won it for Springfield. Congratulations to those two while we're on the Jackson Milton topic. One last thing I want to kind of talk about before we get into our previews and see what games are still hanging on and what games are canceled so far tonight. We talk so much about how softball and baseball is a game of failure for these players and how much they have to bounce back from that adversity. So much that I think it's actually becoming a cliche that I'm trying to avoid a little bit. But I was talking to someone over the weekend, and we were talking about college softball at the high level. So we were talking about Power 5 college softball. It was on TV all weekend. They're asking me what I thought of this coach, who I respect a lot. And one of the things I said that kind of got them, I was like, I really like this coach, but and then I said, I've seen them get out coached a couple of times this year. And they were like, oh, well, how can you think they're a really good coach if they get out coached? And I was thinking to myself, like, we hold the sports standard to players to, hey, it's okay to fail. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to fail a lot in this game. But then we tell coaches, especially, I mean, we were talking about Power 5, but it can be down to here in the high school level. We have a lot of really, really good high school coaches. Like, hey, you're going to get out coached sometimes. I think we need to give these coaches some slack, because this guy had the idea that, or this person I was talking to, this guy I was talking to had the idea that, you can't be out coached. No, I mean, how can they be a really good coach if they're making these bad decisions or the other coach is making better decisions than them? It's like, well, one, in that conversation, it's a Power 5 conference. There are coaches everywhere. I have never seen one coach in my 12 years of watching college softball, and there's so many good coaches. I don't think I can pick one that I've never once seen get out coached in a game, and I've watched a ton of games. So I don't think I can. Even like Patty Gasso, I've seen her get make the wrong decision every now and then, who is a legend at Oklahoma. They're just you're going up against really good coaches, and sometimes they're going to make a better decision than you. Sometimes you make the right decision, and because softball and baseball is such a fickle sport, it still doesn't work out. You can put a pinch hitter in the right situation, everything that says it's a good call, and then it just doesn't work, right? So who's to say that's a bad decision? It just doesn't work out for you. But to say that like we hold these coaches as such this perfect standard where they have to make the right call and they have to make every right decision. It's like, well, this sport is built to make players fail just as much as coaches, right? I mean, you're going to make even you're going to make good calls look bad because the sport is going to make good calls, good decisions look bad because it's such a fickle sport. I think we need to when talking about the X's and O's of the game, I've heard a lot of fan discussions in the crowd throughout the years, and some of them are really hard on these coaches for the decisions they make, in-game decisions they make. And I really got to think like, hey, it's a sport of failure for the players, and we give them a lot of leeway because of that. We don't get mad every time a kid grounds out because, hey, it's going to happen. But the minute a coach, maybe pulls a pitcher too soon or doesn't take them out as fast as they should, no, they're a terrible coach. They need to go. This isn't working. And it's just, it's funny how that kind of, it doesn't correlate. The sport, you're gonna as a coach, you're gonna make the bad decision, or I shouldn't even say bad decision. Sometimes, like I said, it's a good decision that the sport just takes away from you. You're gonna be out coached. There are a lot of good coaches in this area. You're gonna be out coached. There's gonna be a day where two really good coaches go up against each other. One makes a little bit of a better decision, and that affects the outcome of the game. It doesn't take away from the other coach who is just as good. It's just like any sport. When two really good players are going up against each other, it's going to go both ways. One day that person's going to have a day. The next person, hey, you got me this time. You look at the MLB. I mean, how many times have we seen really good hitter-pitcher matchups go the way of one versus the way of other? Very rarely do we see two really, really good pitcher and hitter combo, and it's completely one-sided where either the pitcher is completely handcuffing this guy throughout his career or the hitter is completely just mauling the pitcher every time they see him. We don't see that too often because they're both really high-level players. And if we have that standard for our players, then it's okay. Let's have that standard for our coaches a little bit. They're going up against really good coaches. Sometimes they're going to be out-coached. It's going to happen. It doesn't mean they're a bad coach. It doesn't mean that they're, should be removed from their job. It just means that everybody at that, especially when I'm like, again, full circle to the start of the conversation, talking about the Power 5 softball, conversation, definitely doesn't mean that they're less. I mean, I saw Patrick Murphy in Alabama get a little bit out coached by Alabama, Mickey Dean in Alabama this week. Patrick Murphy is an incredible coach. Anyone that would say like, hey, he made some decisions that, didn't work out. Okay, Alabama needs to get rid of him because they lost to Auburn in a series for the first time since 2018. He's losing his grip. He needs to go. Side eye to that person who is saying that. I'm not saying that I saw someone say that. I'm just saying hypothetically, because I think Patrick Murphy is pretty well respected at Alabama. I don't think a lot of people are calling for his job. But, he got out coached. Mickey Dean made a couple of good decisions and they worked out for him. And Auburn won their first series over Alabama in five seasons, and the first series in Alabama in 6 seasons since 2017. So yeah, it happens. They're really good coaches. Both of them are really, really good at what they do. It's part of the game. When you're going up against good people, things are going to happen. And locally, I think we have some of the best coaches in the state, and baseball and softball, they go up against each other. And there are going to be days when one coach just kind of makes the right decision at the right time, and that team wins because of it. It doesn't take anything away from the coach on the other side. And let's stop having those discussions, knee-jerk reactions to coaches at this sport. That is built to fail, right? You have to be able to fail if you're going to play or coach in this sport. So with that being said, that is my TED Talk of the day. Thank you so much for coming. We'll get to the previews of the games that are going to happen tonight. We'll start with the cancellations. the bad news. Bad news always comes first. We'll go with baseball first. Right now, we still have a lot that's green, a lot that is going on. Only 7 games have been canceled so far on the baseball side. Perry at Lakeside has been canceled. Camel at Champion. That game was supposed to be at Camel. Then they moved it to Champion to try to get in. It's been canceled now officially. Grand Valley at Conneaut has been canceled. Jefferson at Girard has been canceled. Latonia at Lisbon has been canceled. Poland at Lakeview has been canceled. And Salem and Howland has been canceled for baseball. Now let's get to the good news for baseball. I'll tell you about the games that will be on the network tonight. 5 o'clock, EOAC on the line. Both teams undefeated in the conference. Columbiana versus United in United. Joey CBO will be on the call. 5 o'clock first pitch. That game is still on as of now. Scene Park is still good to go as of now as well. We have Western Reserve at Lowville at Scene 1 at 5 o'clock. Eric Hughes will be there. And then on Scene 3, we have Niles at Struthers. That one will be video only, but it will be on the network at 5 o'clock for that. Let's go to softball, and we'll get the games that are canceled. Geneva at Grand Valley has been canceled. Bloomfield at Wyndham softball has been canceled. Champion at Campbell Memorial, just like baseball, canceled. Jefferson at Girard, just like baseball, has been canceled. Latonia at Lisbon has been canceled for softball. Poland and Lakeview has been canceled. Rootstown at JFK, not happening. That one's red. And then Salem and Howland has been canceled. The games that'll be on the network tonight, we have 3 of them. And Boardman will be hosting Canfield. I'll be on the call there, 5 o'clock first pitch. Western Reserve and Lowville meet at YSU in the YSU softball complex. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Noah Doty will be on the call for game 1 of that series. And then Ty will be at Austintown Fitch as Warren Harding comes to town. A very rejuvenated Warren Harding team. They have 7 wins on the year so far, which is really helping out the AAC. Every team in that conference has at least 7 wins. Warren Harding being the most improved from last year to this year. So we'll see what the Hungry Raiders can do tonight against Fitch. Obviously, it would be a huge win for their program if they were able to, slay the monster that is the Austintown Fitch Falcons. We're going to go back up to baseball real quick and tell you the games that are still happening around the area that have not been canceled yet that you can go out and support. All these are going to be 5 o'clock first pitch for baseball. Brookfield at LeBray, Canfield at Boardman, Mooney at East. We have Claymont still going to Edison, Crestview at Garfield, Hubbard still going to South Range, Liberty is still going to Newton Falls. Just canceled. Waterloo and at hosting McDonald has been canceled. Middle Ridge is still going to Springfield. Oak Glen is going to East Liverpool. Sebring at Jackson Milton still happening. Southern and East Palestine still happening. And then Fitch will be hosting Warren Harding at 5 o'clock still happening. Also just canceled for softball, the same matchup, McDonald at Waterloo softball has been canceled. So with that being said, let's just go over the rest of the softball games tonight real quick. Brookfield still going to LeBray. I just heard from David DeJoy. They said they're good to go as long as they don't get more rain. So as of right now, field looks good in LeBray. Everything should be good to go for that game. Crestview at Garfield still kicking. Hubbard will be at South Range. Liberty will be at Newton Falls. Mineral Ridge will be at Springfield. Niles goes to Struthers. Sebring goes to Jackson Milton. Southern will go to East Palestine. Ursuline goes to Mooney. That'll be at the Field of Dreams for the Holy War on softball. And then Wellsville will be at East Liverpool tonight at 5 o'clock. So all those games still happening. Make sure to get out, support your softball teams, support your baseball teams, and have some fun. Tomorrow, we're going to be right back here on Running Point from 1 to 2. The interview for tomorrow is going to be Melina Toth from Canfield, the ace in the circle, the junior for the Cardinals, has been doing so good this year through a no-hitter in Myrtle Beach. Had a chance to talk with her over the weekend, so don't miss that interview on Running Point tomorrow from 1 to 2. We'll also recap the scores that we do get tonight, and as always, we'll preview tomorrow night as well, where the weather looks a little bit better tomorrow than it did today. So tune in to Running Point tomorrow from 1 to 2. Until then, I'm Anthony Hartwig. Thank you so much for tuning in to